I think yesterday I may have referred to this as crazy running. I was just telling Keith, Pete's got me signed up to the UTA 22-kilometre trail run later this year. So that's my intro to running. But yeah, it's just one thing that I've never been able to crack. So we'll find out a little bit more about all that this morning. So Keith Hong first came to Australia from Singapore in 2001. Widely known as Buzz, derived from his online avatar Buzzlight. Keith's involvement with the sports since then has been deeply embedded in the heart of grassroots recreational running across the country. Keith has participated in all spectrums of distances, ranging from 240k coast to Cozzy, multiple 100-kilometre races and ultramarathons, and a personal best of 2 hours 57 marathon. His viral enthusiasm for running is evident by his extensive experience in running event and logistics management, as well as being the founder of Australia's first running-only film festival, the Run Nation Running Film Festival. Keith is humbled and delighted to be one of the people to be able to share how he remains happy all the time, loving what he does professionally and recreationally, embracing giving back to the community. So I'm going to hand it over to Tomo and Keith, and we'll pedal away this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much, CT. Hello, Keith. Very nice to meet you. It's a very expansive CV that you've got there. And as soon as we logged on earlier this morning, before we went live on air, I said to you, you've got a very infectious-looking smile. What keeps that smile going at 7 a.m. and you've been up for quite a while? You tell me.
I have the getting up in the morning part. It's such a routine now. It's the use. I'm usually not a structured person, but I force myself to be structured, so at least I can get a lot more things done. But the best way to look at it is the structure is the best way to start off the day. If you can get the small things ticked off, that starts from home. Everything else after that would just tend to roll on and just tend to get better, because you got out of the house and look back, it's like, yeah, everything at home is kind of where it should be. So that's the way I kind of get things started. And then the day just happens to be a little bit more, because you're consciously doing it, everything else seems to be easier, even though they may not be often at work.
All right, okay, just a couple of stats we want from you. First of all, your age?
Age 43.
Your weight?
Weight 59.2.
You are a lightweight, and I don't mean that. Well, you are literally. Well, how do you keep so? Well, first of all, what's your height?
168. So I am ideal, just on the lower end of the BMI range. Although I have to say BMI is often not the right way to look at your overall health.
I could pick you up with my little finger, probably, could I? Now, Keith, tell us, you came here in 2001. What attracted you to Australia?
It was partially the Olympics. You know, the beautiful space, the beautiful environment, and I came here to finish off my second degree, and then I came here with my wife joining me later. We wanted to break away from the structured, Singapore environment, so we felt this was a good place to be.
Okay, and no regrets?
Say again?
No regrets?
Absolutely no regrets at all. 19 years, 4 months later, I think I'm still here. The country hasn't kicked me out yet.
Well, is Australia a better place for opportunities for people like yourself?
I think it's what you make of it. Singapore, everyone look at Singapore, the little red dot as a country that's short of natural resource and doing so well with country reserve. It's from the inside, it's looked at very differently. The country is, you ask all Singaporeans, they'll tell you the 5 C's. C as in C for Charlie. You need to have a career, cash, car, condominium, and lots of cash. However, in Australia, I think we value things differently. I say we because I'm assimilated and part of the community now. So I like to think we are a lot more blessed with a lot of different things. We're a lot blessed with real hard work, the fair income mentality, and the environment that we're blessed in.
We'll go into your sporting prowess in just a moment, but I'm really curious to ask you what you think of Australia. I mean, we've got our good points, as you mentioned, but what are our bad points as an immigrant?
As an immigrant, ooh, that's a tough one. Oh, do we want to go down the political route? I'm a bit cautious. I remember many years ago when John Howard was still the Prime Minister, he said something for me who wasn't very politically involved then, which I'm not now, but I read a lot. I know about it. It says if he had the opportunity to start the country again, he would just have it on one state, not the many states that we have. Singapore is successful for where it's got since its independence in 1965 is because the single party has controlled it. There's pros and cons, but that allowed it to grow and allowed things to have a continuum from planning all the way to its execution. The challenge here is every few years we have different states with different sides of the party trying to get to the top, and it's more often than not, it's really hard for the politicians to make decisions that truly benefit the community. They do that most of the time. But as we all have known, even the last few days, unfortunately, from Victoria, it's often we need to do what's best for the party, and the party's not necessarily focused on the people. So that makes it really great. So I guess for me, if I can make Australia the perfect country, I would say politically we can do better. But having said that, we are fortunate that we're such a stable country, stable in terms of government-wise. Not like the Taiwanese government. If you know, they actually fight and give fist fight in the parliament, which is very different.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fantastic! Interesting to hear your side of things. I won't call you a new Australian. You've been here 19 years, but you're certainly part of the community. So where did you get the name Buzz? I mean, CT said because of your is it a love or affection of Buzzlight? Yeah, how did that come about?
So Buzzlight, it used to be a running platform, Tom, called coolrunning.com.au. It kind of subsided. It was an avenue for all runners to gather, to get tips and tricks on, hey, when's the new races coming out? I'm a newbie to running. I'm about to do my first 100 miler. Where do I get all the tips? So we all need an avatar. The girlfriend that I was dating just before I left high school gave me a Buzzlight toy. That was Toy Story 1. And that avatar has kind of stuck with me. This is a man that kind of know this avatar, this toy, Buzzlight. Big smile, always full of energy. But once he realized he's not, he's not the all-known figure that is unbreakable. He became down to earth. I have had that experience where I think I'm unbreakable. That often instances again and again and again and again, whether it's sports, business, financially, relationship, always come and remind you to say, hello, don't forget, back to earth. So I felt that avatar really connected me really well. And Buzz Lightyear is such a big name that he just started calling me Buzz, and before I know it, it's Keith Buzz Tong. Short of making eagle.
All right. Well, you're 43, you say. How long have you been running?
Pretty much very actively since I got into Australia 19 years ago.
Okay. And you run around the world. When there's no coronavirus, COVID locking you down and keeping you in Australia, where do you run?
I run around Pete's and Claire's backyard quite frequently. I have to say, the Narrabeen Lagoon, that is one of my frequent go-to place. And of course, the North Sydney Kirribilisi route, Centennial Park is his go-to. The Bay is another go area. The criteria is always less traffic lights. I can get into a rhythm, no headphones, just listen to the metronome of the feet and just go up, up, up. So that's my criteria.
All right. It says here that your best result in a marathon is 2 hours and 57 minutes, yeah?
For now, yes.
For now. What did you make of the world record that was broken, the under 2 hours?
2 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
1 hour 59.
Just remind me who the runner was again?
Kipchoge.
What did you make of that performance?
It depends on what side. So you have seen the prowess of sports and power of sports across. From our runner's perspective, I would categorize myself at a slightly more enthusiastic side towards this sport. I look at it from a non-technical side. I don't focus on the hardware. I focus on the training performance side and the level of intensity. It is absolutely amazing. It's what he has done. It's probably one of the most physically impressive. It's right up there among all the best performance in sports that's considered legal. Unfortunately, I think the limelight was, it was overridden by the shoe that he was wearing, which is why, for those who are not familiar with it, during the broadcast, there was very, very little discussion about what he was wearing, but how he's going to run, because they don't want to take away from the person wearing it. It's pure physics. You put in A, you get B, you get C. It's pure physics.
Yeah. Are you saying the shoe technology had something to do with the world record performance?
It has helped enhance a bit, a little bit. I guess it's almost like, you have covered lots of Tour de France. You have seen the progression of the technology of the bikes.
Yeah,
so
sure.
As bike progress, as a carbon progress, as the kind of saddle gets better, the kind of aerodynamics get better, the athletes grow with it, and you become better runners. So if you look at runners now, you have runners who do a 25 minutes 5K, wearing a $300 shoe for training, and you just go, really? If everyone's able to train with the best equipment, soon enough, the kind of performance would really accelerate. Before you know it, the whole commute is going to go up with the band like everyone else. That's where the jump is. If you want to go a bit technical, the progression of marathon time, Mike, for the last decade has really exponentially gone faster.
And Keith, are you training for anything specifically at the moment?
At the moment, I just want to get over this cold. I haven't got a call from New South Wales Health that I'm negative yet. So specifically before the COVID, I was training to break my first 80 minutes half marathon in April for the Canberra Running Festival. Right now, I think the first race back will be the Sydney Running Festival.
Does that take in the run across the Harbour Bridge?
That's correct, yes.
That's the black...
black wall.
Yeah. So is the Sydney... That's in September, isn't it?
That's correct. It is still going ahead.
Is the Sydney to Surf taking place this year?
Sydney to Surf has been deferred from August, the first Sunday of August, to October. So it's still going ahead. From a operational point of view, everyone's going to think, how are they going to do a 4 square meters rule, social distancing with 80,000 people. I think from the organizers' view, I'm really hoping by then, this social distancing will have relaxed a lot. But Mike, personally, the biggest challenge I think for the organizer is the reliance on New South Wales Health. For all the runners, cyclists out there who's warming up and cycling along your route now, just to give you a bit of perspective, Sydney to Surf has the best doctors nurses ratio to patients scenario. If you want to have a heart attack, that event is the best place to get a heart attack, just because you get so much medical care. New South Wales Health use that as a practice for their major event, major trauma feedback. They practice all the updated comms, they practice all the latest equipments. So I find for the organizers, that would be the biggest challenge to gather new South Wales health to during that time. But we don't know. Every day is a changing goalpost.
It's going to be interesting how they're going to observe and practice social distancing. I mean, those running events attract more than 10,000 people at a time. We've been told by the various governments to, have one person within an area of 4 meters squared.
Yeah.
How is that going to be practiced? I mean, and there were big complaints about the rallies that took place recently in the centre of Sydney.
And then you walk into a restaurant, it's like, I got to wait another half an hour. It's really hard for event organizers, and yet we all appreciate the importance of having events now, Mike. And it's like we all dying to ride with our mates, to do our group time trial, and yet we all have this worry. I know for once the few measures that the organizers, the race director, have shared with me for Sydney Marathon is they're exploring to start up in waves in 200, 300. I think the number is still to be made up. Whether practically it's going to change, we don't know. Never been done before in that critical mass. Is it going to change the experience? Yeah, it is. You're not going to be with your mate, eyeballing them, getting ready, getting all psyched.
Yeah.
But you still have the event itself. And to be honest, Mike, unless you are really in the top 100 ready to win, everyone's running an on-time trial anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. I know, I totally agree with you. Now, look, I'm really interested in the film festival that you organise, a Run Nation Running Film Festival. What's all that about?
It's a collection of human interest stories that via the medium of film that we use that to pull runners together. So it's all about running. But it's not just watching people from running A to B. It's all about them via stories of triumph, story of despair, stories of celebration. So it's been going on for 5 years. This year we are likely to take a hiatus just because a lot of the content creators due to the COVID. But it's been amazing for the last 5 years that we're able to bring people who are even non-runners, but interested in sports itself, that see stories like that's powerful. So it's been great.
So they're human interest type stories, are they?
That's correct. One of the best stories to give the cyclists an example that we hosted the film. A lady by the name of Curly Deer, back in 2013, she ran in country New South Wales 860K in 12 days to raise awareness for domestic violence, white ribbon. And during that time, it was meant to be just running to talk about domestic violence, because she was very aware of the impact it had on the death rate among the women in the country New South Wales. But as the story continued, the disclosure that she received, which was a surprise for her, and that created a lot more different texture to the story. And the running is just a medium for people to create the conversations. It's not the running itself. So that is I find that particular content, that particular film was a great way to describe what the film festival is all about. It's a starting point to create a conversation.
You say you're taking a hiatus because of COVID this year. When's it normally held?
It's normally held about the third quarter of the year. That we have. Last year we were pretty much in every part of the country, all the eastern seaboard, Perth, down south in Adelaide, and one screenings in Northern Territory. So that's usually the third quarter of the year we have that.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and it obviously attracts a huge audience, a lot of people?
Oh yeah, each year we have been able to pull between 10 to 12,000 people. I would like to say there's a good new audience. There's non-runners that comes around. I always say, don't treat this as a running film. Treat this as just come and watch a collection of short stories. Some as short as 8 minutes, some as long as 30 minutes. But take away all your preconception of what this festival is all about. Just come and listen to human interest stories. So it's been a very humbling experience so far. The kind of delight, the kind of unhappy husband that came with a wife who runs to walk away going, that was really good. I'm inspired to go and do my first 5K now. So that's been pretty cool.
Yeah. Where do you source your material from, your movies? Where do they come from?
We always have at least 1 or 2 Australian content. We work with a lot of local producers. One of my good friends, he actually works for SBS. He has been the person that's helped me to decide the sequence of the content. We have a good network in the US that we work with a lot of organic producers.
Okay.
What we meant by organic is they are professional producers, but they also have a big love for the sport. And often produce great content. It's never Hollywood great, but
yeah, sure.
we do want to make it, not a Blair Witch Project, type GoPro standard all the time. But yeah, it's good.
You're giving me an idea. Maybe I should start a cycling type festival around the country.
I
target
think
another market.
There hasn't been one yet. There is a mountain bike, but there is none about road cycling. I we should have a separate chat after that.
Yes. I've just had a light bulb moment. See the light bulb on top of my head? No. But you watch this space. Now, what other interests do you have, Keith, apart from the filming and running?
What other interests? I picked up playing to learn you can't really see my piano. I'm not musically inclined, but I just find because of the nature of running where it's so intense, it's self-induced intensity, and I thrive on the level of intensity. I think my wife at times may struggle to understand why is it that I quite enjoy for 2 hours with a group mate of 8, 10 people, male, female, sit at 4 minutes and just hold on to your dear life for 2 hours. It's a great feeling, but I think it needs to be a counterbalance. I don't want to spend at home and watch too much Netflix. So I've always listened to a lot of music. And last year, 31st of May, I decided to just spend the money, buy a keyboard. So now a year in, I'm taking my grade 2 exams in a few months' time. It's just a way to balance the focus. When you're playing music, you are only playing music. When you're cycling, you tend to be distracted by a conversation. When you're running, you can be distracted by the environment. Whereas when you're playing music, you try to read notes and try to play the keyboard. Your left hand trying to talk to your right hand. Your right hand trying to talk to your left hand. You have to be there. So I find it's a great way to calm the buzz.
Yeah. I find playing another instrument is like learning another language, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what my wife said yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you play any musical instruments?
Well, I do. I haven't. I've got a piano here in my house, but I don't normally play it. Yeah. I learned from a very young age, but I just don't have time to hit the keyboards. I can play a few tunes, but I am very rusty. But look, more about you.
Yep.
I'm curious. You say that running is intense, and it is intense on the body, banging away on the pavement, on the bitumen. Yep. I mean, I ran a little bit when I was younger, but I mean, people my age complain about knee problems. especially those of us who are heavier than 59 kilograms. Is weight the reason why the knees pack in as you get older?
Weight can be a factor. I'm very cautious in saying that. Of course, the more you have to carry, it's pure physics again. The more you have to carry, the more challenging it is to carry it over a certain distance. However, if you equate somebody who's 85 kilogram, but they are 1.8 meter tall, and that 85 kilogram, if 80% is muscle, they have the strength capacity to take them over the distance. So we cannot look at it as a pure weight for the injury. There's a myriad of factors. The way you run, the frequency of how you run. You can bike every day for a newbie, and that's fine. But for running, the importance of that 10% rule to not increase your mileage by more than 10% is so important. Run every second day. Your long run should not be more than 10% of your last week's long run. So all of that, plus the type of shoe you wear, that based on your pronation, supination, neutral shoe. And I think all of that plays a factor to how your hips go, how your knee goes, and how diligent you are and able to understand your body. Like all of us, athletes, cyclists, runners, dancers, are more aware of our body. If our lower QL start tightening up, you just go, oh, that's not usual. And I surround myself with a great group of team. I have a good physio. I see my chiro every 5 weeks. So I know my body fairly well. I think that allowed me to be running for that long since I've been in Australia for 19 years.
Yeah. Keith, I think you're naturally light, naturally lean. But tell me, for those of us who are a little bit heavier and might have a weight problem, is running the best way to lose that weight?
Running like everyone else, Mike, is you don't run to lose weight. Running is probably a really challenging way to lose weight, just because the initial momentum period, it's really hard, and the effect of running has on your joints with that much mass to carry. However, it is very organic. If you stop running, you stopped. If you stop paddling, you're still gliding. I'm not trying to compare running and cycling, but what I'm trying to give the context is the importance of the momentum and energy. If you keep at it, it will get rather exponential. You won't see anything happen for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then cardiovascularly and physically, you'll see the transformation happen fairly quickly once you hit past the tipping point. But I guess it's just having the belief and the resilience that I think is really important to know past the tipping point. One thing I want to highlight is have a plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That is so true. Same thing as anything. If you don't plan your work, you'll fail. If you plan your trade your plan for all traders. Plan your ride your, anything. So if you don't have no structure, no plan, if you want to start, Google couch to 5K. That is the best way to get started from any level. I haven't ran properly. I've been averaging only about 25K the last week. Previously, I've always been on 120, 130 a week because of my plantar fasciitis. I'm going to come back with a really structured recovery plan. I'm running every second day. I'm building it up not more than 15%, not 20, probably 20%. I've ignored the 10% rule because my body has experienced the impact again and again and again. That's the muscle memory there. But it's a great way to to get the weight. I lose weight a lot faster than most people because I'm so used to it. And I know what intensity to push my body right up until to have the effects.
Yeah. So you say run and train every second day.
Yep.
Some people make the mistake and they feel running every day, maybe having one day off during the week is enough, but that's not correct.
It depends on what stage of the your running journey is. If you're really trying to alternate away from cycling and try to get back into running, I think every second day is the best place to start. You're still running 4 days. If you're trying to fit in your work, your family, your other hobbies, your cycling plus running, you need to be so mindful of all the other external stress that's chattering in your head, and just remind yourself that, hey, 4 days of physical running, minimum 25 minutes, please, which I'll explain in a minute. It puts a lot of stress on the body, and you don't want to compound so much stress that 4 weeks later, that tipping point, you go, oh, my ankle is sore, oh, my back is funny, oh, my shoulder's a bit weird because I'm swinging my arms right. It's all about that accumulative stress. Elliot Kipchoge, Mike, the gentleman, the athlete who broke the 2 hours record, I can now share with everyone here his training program for the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
If all of us go and do it, we actually can run 80% of his program, because 80% of his run are easy runs, but his 20% are those really, really, really intense ones. But what makes him so different from us, it is his years of accumulation and his years of adaptation to where he is now. And he's able to optimize 101% of all his training. Every training is purposeful. Every recovery run is purposeful. Every run is purposeful. Every tempo interval is purposeful. So that what makes him so different. So for any new runners, your run is your purposeful run for the first 4 weeks. It's all about just being out there, used to what it's like to pound impact, that much of trauma on the force. So I think that's just for us to recognize it. And 4 weeks later, then we can start talking about, right, when to run faster, when to run longer. That's all structure again.
Mm. Well, I would imagine that diet is a very important part of the week's program.
Yep.
Apart from following a training program. Look, you know what? People often complain about being overweight and they exercise and there are no results. I just find if you eat less, the results will come. You can train as much as you want. You can run, you can cycle as much as you want. But I find if you eat less, don't pig out every night, the results will be there. Do you subscribe to that theory?
Absolutely. I think that's a great way to, I think that's a great way to a great philosophy to adopt, Mike. It's what goes in comes out. Everything is pure math. You come, if your output is only 1, you try to put 2, you still have the 1 in there. It's really pure and simple. It is not an excuse for us to pig out every night with the amount of sports that we do. I do have my cheat days. If you ask any of my community, what is Buzz known to like? I love my Nutella, Mike. It's so obscene. It's bad. And often when I help out event organizers and I said, don't worry about paying me. Usually at my doorstep, you'll rock up an 8-kilogram catering size Nutella. It's obscene. But I've stopped on that level of diet just because I know I'm in this sport for the long term. And the plumbing system in our body remind us very quickly that thing is not meant to be in there for too long. It takes 72 hours for what goes in to actually comes out. Yeah. If you eat the wrong type of food, if you eat fruits before a meal, versus fruits after a meal, fermentation in your intestine works differently. If you drink too much milk before a certain ride or run, the digestion process, the milk lining is not going to help with the digestions in your stomach. So all these little nuances, you just need to understand it has a huge impact. May not be now, but it will be in the right a day and a half time, or you run in a day and a half time. And start thinking, I haven't eaten anything funny. Why am I having a diarrhea now? It's what you ate yesterday and 2 days ago. It's often now. One thing I have to say, I don't eat enough greens. Fortunately, why? It's just not sexy enough. But the way I counter it is I try and steam it as much as I can. I try and blend it in as much as I can. And my wife is constantly knocking on my head to say, all right, hon, come on, more greens.
But you're of Asian descent. Vegetables are a very important part of Asians' diets.
Oh yes, 100%. The fiber that gives all the fiber. Broccoli has the highest density of protein, as we all know. You take a 25 grams of whey protein and 25 grams of broccoli. The broccoli has more protein than the whey protein, and is healthier for us, and it's fresh and straight from the farm. So I think it's just having more of that. The Asian diet is a lot of vegetable stir fry. So in my fridge, you'll still find there's often quite a lot of snap peas, snow peas, and broccoli, and bok choy in my wonton noodle soup. So I'm still very much to my roots. There's a little place in Neutral Bay, which I have to show you sometimes, Mike. It's a little
what's it called?
Relish Noodle Star.
On Military Road?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
She knows me her first name. Keith, do you want the same? Yes, it's the same. So it's always this big bowl of wonton soup with extra vegetables. So it's my eat out, but I know the noodles with all the unwanted carbs. I'm very Asian. I love the noodles. I love my wonton. But there is the additional serve of vegetables there by default. And that is a way to, right, I need more of that, I need more of that, I need more of that.
Well, having lived in Australia for 19 years, do you like your steak and chips as well?
Oh gosh, thanks for saying that. I don't understand the concept of chips. You go for lunch and say, what's for lunch, Dal? Chips with sauce on it. And I'm like, yo, that's not lunch, that's junk food. No, I don't get the chips with sauce and chicken salt. That is the most disgusting thing. But I do nibble on it, but that part I don't get it.
All right, Keith. So what's the future now for you in terms of running?
Future now, I'm in the masters category. I've never been in the elite. I wouldn't even call myself a sub-elite athlete. I run a 36 minutes 10K. So, and I find I may be 43, but I'm actually running faster. I'm actually faster than I've ever been. And that is a result of a very structured, very deliberate process to want to improve. That hunger is always there. I know I can run a 2:40 marathon. So that's a 17 minutes improvement from, which is huge.
It is.
It's huge. But
when do you think that will happen? When do you plan on doing that?
I think that could be a 5 to 6 years ago. I know that will happen around. A few markers for that to happen, I need to be running a 75 minutes comfortably, a half marathon. Right now, in training before the COVID hits, I was running 80 minutes half marathon in training. It's just never done it in a race. So I was on track, and my 10K time was dropping from 38 minutes to 36 minutes. It's just dipping down. But like everything else, speed, as you age, it goes from here exponential. It will dip a bit. it's not always a growth. It will plateau, and then it will peak again. I just need to be very mindful of the recovery period. It's going to be longer. I need to spend more time and resource with my chiro and my physio and support their retirement plan. But it's just knowing that I still have a lot more years in me in terms of good performance, running faster. I'm pretty sure by next year this time I'll be about a mid 75 half, a low 250s full marathon. Because I still want to travel around the world. I do at least one international marathon each year. I was in Boston at 17, Japan 18, Vancouver at 19. This year I was meant to be in Valencia. You know how beautiful Valencia is.
Yeah.
But I don't think all of us are going to do any international travel this year. So it's a write-off.
Not until next year, I don't think.
Really, the word around within the wider running community, I can't say for other industry. I'm involved in many different working groups, running groups. We all agree this year is a complete write-off. Anything in the first quarter of next year is a write-off. So I am personally a bit concerned about the World Cross Country Championship, which is really exciting. It's like
where's that being held?
Bathurst.
Oh, here.
Oh, Panorama, yeah. So it's the first time that a World Athletics event is going to be held here in Australia, which is really, really cool. It's bigger than the Com Games. So I'm personally a bit cautious by that. I think things will begin to resume norm probably in the second half of 2021. That's just because we are restricted by international flight. Our piano teacher's partner, he is a pilot. They've just been told nothing's going to happen till 2021. He flies a big bird for Qantas. So that's the kind of message that we know that's happening. So I'm now bunkering down. 2020, it's all about staying healthy, staying strong, work on your diet, work on more greens, spend more time in the gym, be strong in your core, be strong in your lower back, be strong up in the head, save your cash, get ready to launch lots of fireworks for 2021.
Yeah. All right. Well, I wish you all the best. And just one final thing. Do you have any plans as you get older, maybe in the next 10 years or so, I know you do ultra distances. You've done, I think the longest run you've done is 240 kilometers, correct? Coast to Cozzy. Cozzy. Where is that, Coast to Cozzy?
We start from Boytown Beach in Eden.
Oh, I see. It's Mount Kosciuszko.
That's correct, Mount Kosciuszko. Yeah.
Okay. So you ran 240 kilometres virtually uphill all the way to the top of Australia.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans in the next 10 years or so to do ultra long distances, maybe run across Australia or the USA or Europe or Asia or something? What's your long-term ambition?
But not until I hit my 240 marathon. I'm now more keen to run faster. But running around Australia, I think Pat Farmer is always asking me when I'm joining him to run around Australia again. So that's possible.
Yeah. All right, Keith. Well, keep that smile going, will you? You're beaming. And great to know that you're living in North Sydney. You're not too far away from me. And I'll try that restaurant in Neutral Bay Relish, yeah?
That's correct.
All right. Fascinating interview. Thank you very much for your input. And I'll probably see you running up Pacific Highway very soon.
I'm sure I'll run past you as you ride down toward the city.
All right. Thanks very much, Keith Buzz Hong. CT.
Thanks again, everyone. Bye.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Keith. Thanks for joining us this morning. I've certainly got a smile on my face after hearing your story and just getting your tips on fitness and running and all of that. So thank you so much for joining us, Keith. I'll keep an eye out for you when Pete and I are going around that lake. I'm sure you'll whiz by. So keep an eye out for a Springer Spaniel and a couple of people slowly running around the lake. So look, team, that's us done for another morning. 25 kilometers. don't forget to log that in your My Virtual Mission. And if you're taking photos, please tag us in them and share on social media. We'd love to see what you're up to. Tomorrow morning, we're going to have one of our chat sessions. So you'll get to come in and meet other riders and have a bit of fun there. So we've actually been Throwback Thursday. We're adding a lovely dress up theme to that. So come dressed as your favorite throwback, think 80s, all of that fun stuff. Fluoro, let's just have a bit of fun with it. And then once on the Zoom, we'll break up, we'll have a bit of a chat, and we'll play some good tunes throughout the morning. So we'll help you get through those days. But for now, I'm going to wrap up, let you go on for your day. Thank you again, Keith. Thank you, Tomo. And
thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Bye,
Bye,
CT.